Okay, so today we are going to talk about response to intervention, which is also known as RTI. It is important that you, as parents, know what RTI is because RTI is something that greatly affects your child's education for the better. I will first start off by explaining what RTI is. I will then discuss the benefits, the importance to parents, and I will conclude with some outside resources for parents related to RTI. So, what is RTI? RTI is a multi-tiered system to academic intervention, and it is used to improve the education of all students. RTI consists of 5 main components. These components are universal screening, tiered instruction, evidence-based interventions, progress monitoring, and informed decision making. RTI often consists of 3 or 4 tiers. The most commonly used one is the 3-tier system, and that is what we will be discussing here. Tier 1 focuses on delivering scientifically based, high-quality instruction to all students. During Tier 1 instruction is delivered by the general education teacher in the general education classroom. Students are screened 2 to 3 times a year. At the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and at times briefly before the end of the year. This screening is used to identify at-risk students. Students who struggle with this instruction move on to Tier 2. In Tier 2, students are often provided with a more intense intervention within small group instruction, mainly in math and reading. This instruction can be given by either the general education teacher or the special education teacher. Students are often grouped by levels, and the groups consist of 4 to 6 students. Students who still fail to make adequate improvement in this tier move on to Tier 3. In Tier 3, students are given a more intense, individualized instruction, which often consists of students working one-on-one with a highly qualified special education teacher. Although students can also be placed in groups that are even smaller than the Tier 2 groups. Those who still fail to make sufficient achievement at this point are then referred to be evaluated for special education. What are the benefits of RTI? The main benefit of RTI is early intervention. With RTI, struggling students are identified and helped early on in the learning process. RTI benefits all students, students with disabilities, as well as your child's education system as a whole. How does RTI benefit all students? RTI benefits all students because it provides highly qualified education to all. In the past, only those who qualified for special education would be able to get the help that they needed. Those whose problems were not severe enough to qualify as having a disability often had little to no help in order to improve adequately. Now with RTI, all students are provided with the extra support that they need in order to achieve. RTI is beneficial to students with special needs because it identifies those with learning and behavioral disabilities quicker, and it attempts to help these students sooner. It also provides students with disabilities data that can be used for special education referrals and IEP planning. Finally, it attempts to eliminate the problem of over-identification of minority and ESL students. In the past, when IQ tests were used, these students were often over-identified as having disabilities when they did not have any disability at all. RTI also benefits the current education system in your school as a whole. It helps schools to identify problems within the school's educational curriculum. For example, if there is a high incidence of students being identified as at risk within the school will realize that maybe they need to change their education methods. Also, if there is a high incidence of at-risk students within a certain classroom, the school could realize that the teacher of that class needs further training or supports. Also, RTI keeps your child's school up to date on the latest research and guarantees that your child is receiving a research-based, highly qualified education. Why is knowing about RTI important to you as parents? The main reason is your child's education. As parents, you should be involved in your child's education. Instilling RTI within your school system has a great impact on your child's education, and you should know about it. The best way to know more about how RTI is initiated within your school is to ask questions. What questions should you ask? You should ask about the components of the RTI program that they will be using within your child's school. You should ask, how can parents participate in the RTI process? Also, who will be implementing the different parts of the program? And also ask how they will determine whether or not students qualify as being at risk. You should also ask who the decision-making team is composed of, and how they determine whether or not children qualify as having a disability under this model. To conclude, I leave you with a list of resources to use if you would like to learn more about RTI. These 3 websites are great sources and have more information about what RTI is, the different models of RTI, the benefits of RTI, and other important information that you should know.